Hello, everybody. I thought I would just record a video, and sometimes that's a little bit easier than typing things. Just wanted to say good morning, Monday morning to all of you. I read through all of your posts about your 10 interviews about what is the definition of feminism, and I think you can tell from reading those and looking at the responses that people gave you why I asked you to do that. So they're kind of all over the place. Some people feel like feminism is a good thing. Others think it's stupid. I think that was a theme with some people. I think there's a lot of misinterpretation about what the definition of feminism really is. A lot of people don't understand it. Back when I was growing up there in the 70s, when people would ask if someone was a feminist, everybody was like, sure, I'm a feminist, because we saw it as basically just equal rights, that everyone has a right to have a roof over their head, to have a job, to make a living, to vote, those sort of things. So I think it was kind of fun, and I did notice that a lot of you responded to one another. Some of the people that came in late with their papers didn't get responses, but I think you get the gist. So this week we're going to be talking about the history of women's movements in the United States. Basically, as you go through the readings, you'll notice that it's broken down into three what we call waves. So the three waves of feminism are: the first, which basically started in probably the mid-1800s with the first women's convention in 1848 in Seneca Falls, and progressed into the suffragette movement, or the movement for women to get the right to vote. This also corresponded with the anti-slavery movement. So as women were working to abolish slavery in this country, they realized that when African Americans were free, that black males would be able to vote, but females still would not be able to vote. So that kind of prompted the movement toward women getting the right to vote. And we kind of identify the first wave of feminism with that. According to some historians and other people, there was a bit of a lull, although I tend to believe that women have never stopped fighting. That's just kind of been part of our history. But going into the late 60s, whenever we see the civil rights movement coming up with Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Eldridge Cleaver and the Black Panthers and all that, we see another push for women to have the right to not be sexually harassed, to get promotions, to make as much money as men do. We also know that that still hasn't happened. But the second wave of feminism is sort of identified with that. One of the big issues of that time was the right to choose and the right productive freedom and right to productive choices, reproductive choices. So we see Roe versus Wade come in at this period, probably prompted by the 1964 decision to make birth control legal, finally. So the right to choose sort of becomes the focus of that movement in the second wave. The third wave of feminism basically was started when the Clarence Thomas trials and Anita Hill came in. And we started looking a lot more at womanism and black feminism and lesbian feminism and sort of that kind of thing, because those were people that were left out of the movement in the second wave. What you'll see a lot when you read is that the first and second wave of feminism were basically the movement of the middle-class white women that excluded lesbians and minorities. The third wave of feminism brings up that point. So you'll see that. If you don't know who Anita Hill is and you don't know who Clarence Thomas is, please look that up. You'll also notice that Rebecca Walker, and one of the reasons I had you read her book, and also an article by her this time, is that we've kind of entered this other realm of, we don't really know quite yet what it is, but the fourth wave of feminism, where we see the very definition of what gender and sexuality is all about. You'll see a lot of articles and stuff on the transgender movement, and there's a lot of controversy over whether trans women are to be defined the same as cisgender or naturally born women. It's caused a lot of controversy. I'm involved in a research project with the Michigan Women's Festival. If you don't know about that, look that up. But the Michigan Women's Festival has been an all-women's music festival for 40 years. This is going to be their last year because there is a big fight over whether trans women should be able to be included in that. There's one camp that says that, gender is socially constructed, and we'll get into that next week, but the gender is socially constructed, and if you're not socially constructed as a female, then you don't have the same experience. Whereas a trans woman was socially constructed as a male, but yet, because of a sex change operation, becomes female. But that's kind of where we are with fourth wave feminism right now. I hope you enjoy the readings. I try not to overload you since we're trying to cram 16 weeks into 4 weeks. So I pulled out things that I thought were very targeted at what we're looking at. So this week we'll look at the history so you get a good definition of what feminism is, and where we are with feminism. And then the second week we're going to look a little bit at body image, and how body image is affected from both the social construction, the media, and those sort of things. And I'll weave things in to where maybe post videos and stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on with Charleston right now, and I'd like to post some videos just for you to look at. One of the things that is really predominant in third and fourth wave feminism is that you cannot separate race, class, and gender. And I think that's where we kind of lay. So I talk a lot about racism when I teach this class face-to-face. I usually talk about racism. And then I talk a little bit about masculinity and feminism in that. And then I usually conclude with LGBT movement, with lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender issues, mostly transgender issues. I'm hoping we'll have enough time to include all of that. But feel free to keep talking on discussion board. You all seem to be already in that group, which makes me happy. I didn't have to say. I'm going to post a discussion for this week, and just as soon as I get finished with this video. What I'd like for you to do is summarize the readings. What did you glean from the readings? So that'll be your original post. And then at least respond to 2 other people and how they looked at the readings for this week. So you'll basically have 3 responses. You'll have your original post, and you'll have responses to 2 other people. Try to stay in that 1,500 word. Make sure that we get 1,500 words in our post. That way we don't have things like people reply and go, cool, I agree with you. But if you do agree, say, I totally agree with what you're saying. As it's said in Baumgarten's piece, blah, 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 blah. And I also believe, after reading part of Rebecca Walker's book, that Baumgarten is correct or wrong, or however you want to do it. But try to refer to the readings whenever you respond to someone else. Respond to what they did. Make it scholarly. I'll try to give you some opportunity to have some, conversation where it doesn't have to be so scholarly and you can talk. I'll keep in touch. If you have any questions, please let me know. And